Hello, can you hear me?
Hi Nate, yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Yes, I can.
What's that, John? Today is Monday, September 8th, 2025. I'd like to open the regularly scheduled meeting of the Allentown, New Hampshire Board of Selectmen at 6 p.m. We'll start with the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Board members
Trish Karuchar, Kathleen Pelosier, Diana Knowles, Laura Lambert.
Scott McDonald,
John Harrington.
also in the room with us this evening.
Armin Verville.
Mike Frassinella, EDC.
Michael Trenick, consulting engineer. Jeff Backman, sewer superintendent. Peter DeSantis, EDC.
Beth Power, Police Chief. Jackie Tate, Town Clerk, Tax Collector.
And with us online. Sorry, we hadn't quite started when you connected, Nate.
Okay, good evening. Yep, Nate Madolo here with Upton and Hatfield.
Hi Nate, you just introduce yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Hi, everyone. Nate Madolo, attorney with Upton and Hatfield.
Thank you.
We'll go right to citizens' comments. You have citizens' comments this evening. Mike Frassinella.
A little bit of serendipity, you know what that is?
Wasn't surprised.
Wasn't surprising. I was in my car listening to the CD, and it changed to another CD, and all of a sudden I heard Frank Sinatra singing, "I'll be home for Christmas." I had to change the CD. We've got a farmer's market coming up on September 28th. And we had 15 elect vendors the last time, we hope to have more this time. We're also trying to get some of the people who are at the Pembroke Farmers Market, they stopped holding theirs, so we're gonna try to get them to our event. This Friday and Saturday is Reach the Beach. Allentown does not have anything to do with it, except sell lots of sandwiches and coffee and other beverages to the runners. They're I think one of the only food stops on the entire course, 60-80 mile course that they run. And it's fascinating to be there if you can find a place to park at the picnic area. Because the runners come in off Deerfield Road, come down a paved path, and there's a congregation of people, all runners, waiting to get the baton from their teammate. And they grab it and run off back to the road. And the people that just handed up the baton, they go and join their teammates and go to the pavilion and have some breakfast together. So it's a great event. So if anybody wants to attend or help the fire department, the Firefighters Association, this would be a good time to do it. You need help, transport equipment. There, starting
Friday during the day, so it's our biggest fundraiser. We've done it for years, and we have 3,600 runners this year, which is a 20% increase this year. And so Friday during the day, we bring everything down and set up at the pavilion, and then I want to say by 3 a.m. the runners are there taking naps, and then they come and they eat. They sleep, they have soup, they have coffee, we do breakfast sandwiches, and then they continue on their way. So it should be fun. It's exhausting, but it's very rewarding at the end of the day. Thank you for
We
mentioning
expect
this.
all of them to come to that stuff.
Yes,
That's the one time you don't wanna try to drive down Enfield Road.
No.
We've got runners and stray vans.
And they're in costume and they're usually pretty lit up, so it's a lot of fun, we really love it.
I had one question. A friend of mine told me that it was now a digital sign, entry school, but it's covered up. And, I guess he said the swamp creatures on social media were wondering what was going on. And I was wondering, has anybody been using the Text My Dog widget that's on the town website? I mean, that would be the ideal place to ask you guys about anything going on in town, instead of spreading rumors on social media. So is there a
Of the people who are signed up for Text My Gov, we've gotten very few questions being sent to us through that application.
Okay, so going back, I thought the third digital sign was gonna be put out here, but it's not.
That was a stopgap measure in case that building acquisition did not go through. Since it was acquired by the town, the sign was put in down there, so we didn't have to move it at a later date. The reason it was covered is because we had residents going down there looking to register their car, even though there hadn't been any notice that we had moved down there.
It's the proverbial, I'm gonna make a false assumption and it's complaint about
And that's what was happening.
it. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Let the record show Fire Chief Eric Lambert entered the meeting at 6:04 p.m. Any other citizens' comments? Hearing none, we'll go to our first agenda item. We have with us today Attorney Nate Nadolo. I know some of the members wanted to ask some questions and get a general feel about what the unionization of the firefighters will mean to the town. So, Mr. Nadolo?
Good evening. How's everyone? I guess one comment I have right off the bat, are we right now in open public session? Because I think our conversation should happen under right to know law, so we're not in a public session.
Is there any of it that you can do in a public session? I wanna make sure that the voters understand how the union is gonna affect them and the people that are signing up to join the union. So that's why I requested that it be in a public session.
Yeah, and I understand that. I guess typically when I'm answering your questions as a board, we can do that under the right to know law without it being a public meeting. It's actually technically considered not a meeting. And certainly from our conversation, we can then, come back out and put whatever statement you want to put in the public record. But our initial conversation, I think we should have not in a public session.
Okay.
John, did you prepare that for this evening, and is that part of tonight's agenda?
I did not, because I did not know that there was going to be a request for a non-public.
It's not a non-public. What it is when you're consulting with legal, it's a non-meeting. So does not need to be a non-public meeting. It's just a non-meeting under the right to know law. So you can certainly, ask questions. I think the way to handle that would be to have a non-meeting, and then once that occurs, then present whatever information you would like.
I need some clarification. So if we were to ask you questions like, in general, what could the select board, the department, and residents expect from a union, and what kind of effects that might make on each of those groups?
Yeah, and I can answer
Would
those.
that be something you could?
I can answer the questions. My concern is that when I'm having the conversation with you as a select board, it is a confidential attorney-client privilege. And unless it's just with the select board, it waives that attorney-client privilege. And the topic of that conversation would be, you know, the process for negotiation with the union, the process for the next steps forward. And I just think it's appropriate to answer those questions in a confidential setting. Certainly, if once we have that conversation, you want that information to be made available to everybody, that's fine. But I just think in the initial conversation, it should happen confidentially, not in an open public meeting.
Okay, so that,
Okay,
it's
then we
probably,
have to,
yeah, that's his advice, yeah, it
Yeah.
seems to me like there's probably some much larger aspects to this than I was even anticipating.
right.
And I can
So in
certainly
that case, I mean, we,
hang around and
least,
have that conversation after you go through the rest of your items. That's fine. I have the time to do that.
Nate, we've got a rather busy schedule tonight. There's a lot of work the board's got to get through tonight, so.
Yeah.
Want to set it up for our next meeting?
I would think that would be better. Nate, what does your schedule look like for September 22nd?
What time are we thinking?
Same time. The meeting starts at 6, but I can look to keep the meeting brief. We typically have our non-public session at the end of the meeting.
can we move it to the beginning to accommodate me?
We
Yeah.
certainly can.
Yeah, I see you having the 22nd would be fine. I see you have a non-public agenda item today. I'm fine doing it today during that non-public agenda item.
We're just more concerned about the length of the regular meeting, could last 2 hours or more.
Okay.
And to take up that time is probably not a good use of your time. When I would prefer to rearrange the next meeting agenda to have you at the top of the meeting. We'll start off with the non-public.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. So the 22nd at 6, you're saying?
At 6 p.m.
Okay, that's great. I'll put it down.
Thank you, Nate.
Thank you.
Thank you for attending.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Jeff, you two gentlemen are just here regarding the disbursement.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna move that up.
Okay.
We'll, I know we have tax needs next year, but these two gentlemen are here, so I've got a form here from Department of Environmental Services that this relates to the upgrades that we're having done down at the sewer plant, and this is for disbursement. It's just asking for my signature. It's more formality. I think you have to vote on it if you're.
May I make a comment?
Go ahead.
I would recommend that you either authorize either John or I to sign these either now and in the future, because there's going to be several more of these to come throughout this project.
Okay. All right, so whoever might make that motion, please keep that in mind. This today, the disbursement is for $56,691.04.
Or what are the details?
The new clarifiers, does that cover it?
Yeah, I'll step up to the plate.
Thank you.
Michael Trent, and consulting engineer of the sewer department. The disbursements are against the loan, the revolving fund loan for the private construction of the project. So there's a couple aspects to that. One is construction phase engineering services, and the other is the construction work. This first disbursement request is for just for engineering services to date. And that includes putting the bidding documents together, going through the bidding process. And now we're in the process of awarding the construction contract. Successful low bidder I guess it was technical information. So this disbursement just includes engineering services today.
I'm sorry, maybe you said it and I missed it. What is the project?
It's new clarifiers at the wastewater treatment facility.
Good, that's good.
I don't know if that helps you, I'd be happy to explain
I know about it myself.
Yeah.
I did a short stint down at the sewer department back
Okay.
a number of years ago, I learned about it then, but I've also kind of just been interested in that stuff along the way. But others here might want to know.
that. I'd be happy to share as much detail as you'd like.
We've discussed this many times before. Now, at this point, we're actually gonna start doing it, so.
I'm here to answer any questions.
So you'd like American currency?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make light of that, I don't. We have this discussion.
You're clarifying that.
Does the rest of the board have any questions? John, do we need a motion on this? Sure. I think the way Jeff described it, authorize you and John as signatories in the future. All right, as well as this one.
Yep.
All right.
Sorry.
Was I specific enough? I'll just say all in favor.
Trisha,
Kathleen, I, Diana,
Laura,
And Scott, aye. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
good night, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Aye, Chris. All right, waivers. I've got something that we did before we start going through these. Neighbors and the meeting.
can I just start with a short statement? Just so people in the public know that this is part of the property tax meeting and deeding process that we're going forward. Before we start just saying what each one is. That's all I wanted to say.
Everyone understand what we're about to do? Thank you. Pursuant to RSA 80:76 Part 2A, the town of Allenstown Board of Selectmen hereby notifies the tax collector that they will not accept the tax collector's deed because the selectmen have determined that acceptance and ownership of the real estate would be contrary to the public interest, as it will subject the municipality to undesirable obligations or liability risks, including ongoing monthly park fees, former owners residing at the property, uncertainty regarding the condition of the property and sale thereof. The next 45 days, the selectmen will reach out to the owner and pursuant to RSA 80:76 Part 3, continue to determine whether the public interest requires that this waiver remain. The selectmen thus reserve the right pursuant to RSA 80:76 Part 3 to direct the tax collector to issue the tax deed to the selectmen if necessary. See RSA 80:76 Part 3, if at any time in the judgment of the municipal governing body, the reasons for refusing the tax deed no longer apply and the tax lien has not been satisfied, the governing body may instruct the collector to issue the tax deed, and the collector shall do so after giving the notices required by RSA 80:77 and 80:77 Part A. These are waivers that the town administrator has recommended that we waive today. Did I get everything in there, John? So. And there's quite a few of them, so I'm going to read them out and the lot numbers. And at the top, we're going to request The town clerk and town administrator recommend that the board of selectmen sign the deed waivers on the following properties. Tax map 0004007000040000089.
You can read them without the
Yeah. Yeah, just the numbers.
The last,
Like
like,
the.
Oh.
The last,
One, two, sometimes it's two.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be zeroing out.
That would be a
we'll
lot.
try to save your voice.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yes, they could, we did the amount.
You can read the amount if you
We
want.
should read the amount. Yes, the total due is $1,145.97. Tax property located at tax map 1222-6. That's the amount of $1,659.57. Tax map 4072654. In the amount of $14,696.12. Tax map 105870. Total amount $8,121.62. Tax map,
Hey, that's a plan, that one we just read. Tax map 1058700.
Yeah.
so like,
No? It's upside down. Thank you.
we're good. Yeah.
Okay,
Tax map 4072677, the amount of $776.08. Tax map 4072631, in the amount of $6,022.96. Tax map 1071237, the amount of $6,002.04. Tax map 1071286, in the amount of $8,572.14. Tax map 1122233, in the amount of $2,859.77. Tax map 4074041. The amount of $2,512.80. Tax map 107124. The amount of $5,369.64. Tax map 4103913. In the amount of $24,126.93. Tax map 13512-148. In the amount of $12,066.47. Tax map 1063831. In the amount of $16,246.85. Tax map 410399. In the amount of $17,659.34. Tax map 10712-169. $13,764.54. Tax map 1071219. In in the amount of $10,645.39. Tax map 1122234. The amount of $5,460.76. Tax map 4072681. In the amount of $3,604.63. Tax map 409339. The amount of $6,251.60. Those were all recommended by our town administrator that we waive this year. Questions?
Did you make a motion at the beginning?
I did not. I did not. I prefer it come from one of the board members.
Sorry, my allergies are killing me today.
You're drinking up at all?
Want the motion to keep dipping some. I was like, there was water in my ears, I'm so stopped up.
Diane said she'll make the motion if you'll give her that cover page so she can read what it. Right?
Go ahead, if you want to do it, go.
I make a motion that pursuant to RSA 8076. 2A, town balance, town board of selectmen, accept the waiver of the deeds just read. Good. You want a second there? Second.
All in favor?
Tricia.
Kathleen, I.
Diane, aye. Laura.
Scott,
You.
all right, the next, these are also deed waivers, but these deed waivers have payment plans. Let me. All righty, I guess I've got to read this again. Pursuant to RSA 80:76, Part 2A, the town of Allenstown Board of Selectmen hereby notifies the tax collector that they will not accept the tax collector's deed because the selectmen have determined that acceptance and ownership of the real estate would be contrary to the public interest as it will subject the municipality to undesirable obligations or liability risks, including ongoing monthly park fees, former owners residing in the park property, uncertainty regarding the condition of the property and sale thereof. The next 45 days, the selectmen will reach out to the owner or owners and pursuant to RSA 80:76 Part 3, continue to determine whether the public interest requires that this waiver be made. The selectmen thus reserve the right pursuant to RSA 80:76 Part 3 to direct the tax collector to issue the tax deed to the selectmen if necessary. To RSA 80:76 Part 3. If at any time in the judgment of the municipal governing body, the reasons for refusing the tax deed no longer apply and the tax lien has not been satisfied, the governing body may instruct the collector to issue the tax deed, and the collector shall do so after giving the notices required by RSA 80:77 and 80:77A. Town clerk and the town administrator recommend that the board of selectmen sign the deed waivers on the following properties. Tax map 10587 in the amount of $20,106.10. Tax map 10350 in the amount of $19,614.23. Tax map 10319 in the amount of $8,294.54. Tax map 4103916. The amount is $9,217.61. Tax map 4093343 in the amount of $6,364.31. Tax map 1121310 in the amount of $41,078.97. Tax map 4074069 in the amount of $8,100.86. Tax map 107121118 in the amount of $3,323.24. Tax map 4074076 in the amount of $5,976.64. Tax map 40916 in the amount of $3,979.90. Town administrator has recommended that we sign these waivers as they currently have in place. Any questions? Somebody say so.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Say
Good job.
aye.
Kathleen, I.
Diana.
Maura?
And Scott. These are deed waivers. Town clerk and town administrator present the following deed waivers that do not have a payment plan in place and remain on the 2025 deed list with outstanding balances. Following properties are on the deed list. Tax map 10520. In the amount of $58,014.89. Tax map 108330. In the amount of $31,987.97. Tax map 10116 in the amount of $24,439.18. Tax map 11026 Tax map 110260 in the amount of $528.60. And tax map 4093326 in the amount of $6,069.21. Question?
This category different than the other two, I think, other than the shorter introduction.
They do not have payment plans and they still have an outstanding.
So it's recommended that we do not waive the deeds for this one.
For that group.
Did I say that wrong?
I might not have caught the
I
not,
might have.
yeah, I might not have caught the not.
Someone make the motion correctly, so. I mean, I didn't make the motion, but I may have said what I said to the other two files.
I make a motion that the select board not waive the deed listed.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Trish, I.
Kathleen, I'm Diana.
Laura, I.
Strong. All of these are going to require.
Yes.
Those will
Can we
not,
just-
you just voted them, we'll make those.
We'll be signing as the meeting goes on.
Yeah.
First one, I'll do one back to turn. Couple down.
That's exactly, sign the staff.
And a few other things here. Let me. All right. Fire chief.
Eric Kramer. Thank you for having me. Got some just brief things to go over, so hopefully. At the last thing, the person I go through is I messed up some numbers, so I wanna make sure that I correct it before I put it. For Joe Wood, Nathan Bouchard and John Satterwhite, the starting number for their adjustments was wrong, it was at 2715, it should have been at. It started at the 2027 and then 2825. And with John, it was supposed to be 2662 and then going to 2715. So I have the corrected forms that John form had to sign as you get the form. It's the same dollar amount, it's 55 cents per person per hour. It just was at the wrong selection. So this is just the correction forms to have signed for you guys for that. And I got nothing.
Should we be making a motion to
Yes.
accept these new numbers?
Yes. Each one.
Yeah.
Those are the only two that were correct, the others were accurate.
This motion, you ladies. See, I get it.
Thank you.
I move that we accept Eric's request, with the pay
Step increases for
step
probation.
increases and, these folks just all finished probation, chief.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying with this last week, it gets the wrong number, so just correct them.
Lieutenant Ducharme, going from 2770 per hour to 2825. Effective date 5/28/25. Lieutenant Joe Wood is going from 2770 to 2825, effective 5/28/25. And Lieutenant John Sotarelli is going from 2662 to 2715, effective 5/28/25.
I'll second.
All in favor?
And these are from probation commission?
Yeah, it's the one from last week, it's the same thing,
Yeah.
it's just a run the starting number was wrong.
Did you say all in favor?
Yes.
Trish, I.
Kathleen, I.
Diana,
Laura, I.
Scott.
Thank you, guys. Second is I have, to remove somebody from the department, I haven't really heard from, tried to attempt to contact, telling her we're going into per diem member. And he hasn't been available, he got hired in Salem and since then he's dropped off the face of the earth, so. I'd like to remove him, from there, just so you guys know. And then the second one is in place of him. We have another gentleman who lives, he's moving to Concord, the next month, he lives in Massachusetts now, is going through the technical college to get his degree for fire science and EMS. So, I'd like to move him on to the department, his name is Eric Howard, and it's spelled the right way with a C and not a K. I'd like to move on to the department as a probationary firefighter, at the basic step of just a firefighter. I believe 1866. He will be progressing through and hopefully will be a good turnaround because he's in the tech program and they have to get fire one in 8 weeks and then they have to take the EMT the next semester, which is 8 weeks. So with that, a lot of the training is going to be done through the program, so then I'll make it so it's a little easier for us to get him certified and kind of get him fireman and stuff like that. So I'm looking for your approval for that. If you could. And I have the information here if you guys want to change it. And I apologize for not getting it out, I didn't have to meet this afternoon, that's my problem.
What's his last name?
Eric Howard. He'd be a per diem firefighter.
And what was his starting?
1866.
Effective date today.
Would be the 15th of September. And he comes out of physical background check this year. I have all that information here. And the tech is actually requiring to do another physical when it gets here, get started, so. I'll have that documentation.
Okay. I move that the board allow fire chief to hire Eric Howard as a per diem firefighter with a starting rate of $18.66, effective date September 15th, 2025. All in favor?
This is a new hire,
It's replacing the one that I'm gonna go, so yes, he's gonna be a new person.
But it's just per diem.
Yeah.
and you asked her. There was a motion in a second.
There was.
Tricia.
Vaseline. Laura, sorry.
Thank you very
No,
much.
it's right when you're signing it.
Yeah, and I know that's, so I think the dynamic and the perception is like coming here and it seems like I'm coming frequently to. That's the world of per diems that we live in this job. And a lot of people go through it where the average is about 2 years, you know, sometimes it's a lot shorter, sometimes a little bit longer, but they drop off because they get hired, someone like Tyler gets hired at Salem. Other people, some people stay, they can want to just still participate because they were close by, but a lot of them, it's the work we're living in. So I just want you guys to know that that's higher kinds of people, it's just trying to do that. Ebb and flow, we're still at the same number right now, so, and it's good because we have some significant changes. Last but not least, I want to inform the board that Joe Wood is actually giving his resignation as a full-time firefighter. He will be moving on to the town of Plymouth. He would like this way to call firefighter. Right now he's responsible, he does do quite a bit for us. He takes care of the living students and the cadets, which they just went to the school. Great job, he actually had them solicit donations for school supplies. It's actually just delivered it to the school tonight. Because he was gonna be here, but he's doing that right now, we'd be ashamed to deliver all the food supplies, so. Kudos to Joe, he did a great job, so. On top of that, they actually raised, at Old Homes Day, some funds for the captain that died in Northwood. And they went there last week and donated $300 to his family. And they're actually meeting right now, after they go to school, going to do training with Northwood with their cadets, so, which is good, because it gives them the interest to keep going and stay on the department, and hopefully read them into staying with us for a while, so, it's a good, 5 good cadets right now. So, but he is moving on, he basically just wanted to be in Plymouth for a while, made him an offer. It is more money than in here, he will be stepping down to a firefighter, but, I told him up front that, you know, home's home, if that's all you wanna be, and that's what you wanna do, and that's fine. I did speak with John, I have posted the position to fill. I have a closing date of the 20th, some interviews to be done, hopefully have this person in place by the second week of October, so we can get their training started. And like I said, Joe's gonna hang on and work some shifts, so he can help train this person to either help keep my costs a little bit lower, but get this person in and get them set.
What would be Joe's rank as a call firefighter?
He's gonna stay as a call lieutenant, So, and that is a position, and so we still, when we lost Melissa and Tyler Bannister, we had two positions that were kind of open. So, Ryan filled, Tyler's position, and we had another lieutenant's position, so he will stay in that one. It's not creating anything new, so. When we go down the future with this new person, that one will be filling that last spot. And that's pretty much all I have for tonight, so.
All right, thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's- And I have to get that thing after the things.
AES. So, Peter, you gonna do that?
No,
No. I visited it once or twice.
as requested by the board, that this is gonna be a reoccurring item on the agenda. To give you what has happened. I can tell you that the 2025 fire alarm inspection has been completed by RB Lewis. I have not gotten the report yet. I've asked them to give us a phased report, those items that need to be handled immediately versus those that can wait. And we can decide when they need to be done. But with the preschool going in there, they started, we needed to get this done immediately. Also, cellular communication for the system to alert capital alarm has been installed. Prior to that installation, it was not talking to capital alarm, so when the test to pull the pull station was done, it wasn't calling out. Again, because we have the preschool in there, had to happen in a timely way. The computer for the door swipe system has been ordered. They're waiting to coordinate with the vendor that is doing the door lock cylinders and the door swipe system. I've got a call out to him to get an exact date. Last I heard, he was waiting on some parts. And then he would be able to give me an accurate date of when that installation will be done, and I can tell you when it gets up and running. The HVAC assessment has been scheduled for 9/17. I'm gonna have a vendor walk through the building, give us a proposal of what they recommend the building needs. We need that in order to start writing an RFP to go out and put it out to bid. We need to know what we're looking for before we ask for people to give us a number. We don't know at this point. So hopefully I'll get that report and be able to update you. Working with the road agent, we've developed a new traffic flow pattern for people dropping off and picking up their children. Prior to that, they parked everywhere and anywhere they could, and it was very unorganized, unsafe for the children. We now have a flow pattern that uses strictly the left side of the building, utilizing the previous in and out pattern, but it goes all the way around to the back doors, so that kids are dropped off right at the door or picked up right at the door, and then traffic continues and flows outward. The anticipation of this is that the main door for all of the staff will be in the back. They are all going to be parking in the back, leaving the front of the building open for residents when we finally get down there. So I wanted to establish that early so we didn't have to change this again. So parents, as I understand, are getting used to the new system. I haven't heard any negative comments on it yet. For those of you who do not know, Rita Donaldson has left her position with the town. She has moved on. She felt that it was in the best interest of her and the town that she move on. She is still associated with the sewer department and doing their bookkeeping down there, so there will be some interaction. The good news, MRI, in anticipation of this, was able to get a new finance director in place by Thursday. He came in, met staff, and he will be putting in 1 day a week, Wednesday, I believe. The rest of the time, he works 4 days a week, he will be available by email and phone. He comes with 30+ years of municipal finance experience, so I think we have a very talented person working with us. His primary goal immediately is to focus on the 2024 audit, get us ready. Due to Rita's untimely departure, our scheduled audit last week was not able to be completed because there were components missing. That is what this new finance director, his name is Scott Smith, will be focusing on to get us ready. They'll be back in November to complete the audit. And once that's completed, we'll be caught up and on schedule with our audits for the town. Okay. And I went on to my report. Sorry, that was it. A little bit more. I was on the roll there.
Did you get it all in there?
No.
You were next anyway, Tom.
All right, let me finish up this.
Can I just interrupt for one second?
Sure.
Can we rename AES updates to new town hall updates? I'd like to start moving in that direction, people understanding that we aren't at.
I don't mind that at all.
Town hall.
I just didn't want to confuse because I had to cover the sign. I want to be careful on that. But I think-
Future town hall maybe?
I like that better.
Okay. Thanks.
That's my report. As asked, we have the EMS expense revenue and trial balance in your folders to take a look at. That was printed last week, but it's pretty accurate to where the account is. The SAU sent me an email later last week, looking for an estimated anticipated rent cost for the 26-27 school year. They're preparing their budget, so this might be an opportunity for the board to review what the actual rent per month is down there and make any necessary adjustments that I can report back.
Have you had a chance, I mean, we've kind of been lucky to have them in there as the sole tenant, so that should give us a more realistic idea of what the rent should be, I'm guessing.
Their usage.
Yeah, based on that, I mean, I know once we leave there, things will go up and there are certain fixed costs that remain the same, but I'm hoping using that data, again, as I've said before, my intent is not to make a profit off SAU, just to ensure that they are paying enough to cover their needs.
I think that will be easier to assess once we get into the months where energy usage is going to increase. Right now, there's very little other than lights. There's no heat involved, there's no air conditioning involved. So I think once we start getting into the colder months, the heat has to go back on, we'll be able to determine. But again, in that building, that is going to be a hard task. The heat is either on or it's off. So we would have to apportion it out anyway, given some other kind of metric such as square footage of usage of the building. I'm just throwing that out. But without distinct zones to be able to gauge what the energy usage is, it would be somewhat difficult, but we can try to come up with something. A recommendation from our finance clerk to ask the board that the town does not assign a PO to every reoccurring charge, such as insurance, fuel, electric. We're not currently doing that now. We're assigning POs to more one-time purchases, but these are going to come up monthly, and some of them are over the $1,000 threshold. And I think that is a fair ask.
So we do have some of those exceptions in our policy.
Contract payments.
Yeah,
that occur.
exactly. I would think just utility bills as a subject in itself
Right.
would be
I hope the board has noticed that the PO assignment has improved dramatically.
Yes, I did notice that. I was wondering about the ballot machine though. Didn't seem to have a PO number.
Okay, I
Yeah.
can look into that.
But yeah, I think, you know, I also think that, you know, at some point we may wanna look at the approval lines, you know, and the level of approval for the department. So,
That would take a policy change for the
yes, I
purchasing.
understand that. Yeah, I get where she's going with that, because if they're gonna start to be over $1,000, which
Yeah.
things are right now.
Mhm.
Is it just utilities? I remember what you just said.
I said insurance,
Insurance.
fuel, electric, those are just some top examples. We're not currently doing them for those, but I just wanted to alert the board that if you were expecting them, the recommendation is not to start, otherwise we will be in the numbers of 100 or more of POs every year.
I know that our auditors do look at our policies versus what we're doing,
Correct.
so we will want to add those categories. Just so we're not, you know, leaving every PO out there, but we're also being succinct in what things. Yeah. If you'll come back with maybe a list of categories.
I certainly can.
Yeah.
You also have, I sent over the weekend, South Shore Outboard Association looking for the boat ramp permission to hold an event. Something for the board to consider so that I can get back to them.
I think it's a great idea, I think.
Yeah, I'm so clear that I'm just wondering, will it put any undue burden on our police and fire during the event, or are we all set, we're covered? I don't think it's gonna be anything huge, but it sounds like they just closed down the ramp for like 4 hours. Is this hoping a slight uptick in traffic, it will bring in business. I don't think it'll be overruns, but I just know when they're, like, we reach the beach, when there are events that are strong crowds, you wanna make sure that you're prepared to address any issues that
And it's something different, something
Yeah.
that might spark interest in other things and other people to come in and do stuff here. Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
I
How
like
many people are-
the events.
Yeah.
Do you know how many people are expected?
No,
I think that's just the initial letter to see if we're interested, we can obviously.
and
find out.
that's where, yeah, they wanna meet with us, but that was I think it's a great idea, but my only concern is making sure that as a town, we're able, I mean, if there's gonna be a high amount of garbage, are they gonna be taking their garbage out? Do we have the staff available in town on the weekends to cover those waterways? If we need to do.
Traffic control.
Yeah,
That's a pretty tight
exactly.
area down there.
Exactly, and it may, I mean, maybe you're talking about 20 people coming in.
But these are questions we can
Yeah.
ask when we meet with them.
Either way, like for instance, Mammoth March is coming back in November this summer. A lot of the times we hired a detail because they're through the woods, so that the ambulance coverage, they paid for said detail for us to do the same with the PD. So if you're gonna be doing something on the river and it's racing this crowd there, they're gonna probably need to do a detail, at least 2
Yeah,
people.
I think they referenced that.
Yeah, that's, I just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
Use to provide whatever it is that they.
Yeah, it says that.
We have the staff, we have the.
I scanned it, I didn't see it.
So it says, they're fully insured, the town would also be covered, an additional insured against liability. We usually employ 2 EMTs in an ambulance and often donate to local charity as well as being a small amount of daily retail
Yeah.
business, so.
So,
But yeah, definitely questions we can ask, and maybe if we have a meeting with them, if you guys wanna join to ask
Yeah.
questions that you guys are concerned with.
So I can invite them to the next meeting.
I would say also, John, maybe reach out to Kingston to see if, you know, there's been any impact there that maybe that's why they're moving away from Kingston and, you know, was there an issue there or is, you know, I think everything's hunky dory. But
I don't think they're leaving Kingston, I think they just wanna find another site
In addition.
in addition to.
Right, that's
So they're not
that's what they're saying to us, but
In addition to
you know, I agree, it's just here to know
It's always good to.
what impact.
Oh, no, I'm just saying that I don't think they're leaving Kingston because it was a bad thing, they're growing, so they probably need more exposure.
Yeah.
So they were coming on our ramp and race in the water these days. I mean, at 70 miles an hour, that slows it down fast.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Well,
You know this, are there speed limits in that area of the Merrimack?
No clue, not our jurisdiction.
So I wonder if we should know that before we're commissioning this.
I'm sure they have
That's the
SEO
first
spots.
step. I don't know, I mean, I don't know that it would mean anything, it would be an impact to us from the state if we're commissioning something that.
We're just
Right,
allowing them to
speed
use the
limits
boat
on
ramp
track.
like they do on the water.
Yeah.
And they've been doing it 17 years, I'm sure that they are.
Yeah, I like to trust but verify, Laura, that's my motto.
That's
Language.
So I will invite them to the next meeting and reach out to Kingston for any feedback that they might have.
Yeah.
And the last item,
Thank you.
I was asked to check into adding a PO module to the MRI accounting system. That would be an additional $850 a year to add that module. And they did tell me at the same time that our overall annual supporting and hosting fees will be increasing between 4 and 5% for all the existing software modules we have now,
Regardless of this.
regardless.
Okay. Do we have an idea? You know, I'm just wondering that amount, you know, it's useful to the, you know, it's a good impact to what our staff is doing. We've got, you know, Veronica doing manual purchase orders and then maybe, you know, having to have department heads come over and sign it. You know, would it be worthy to pay that additional amount per year to just have that all in the system streamlined?
Yes.
Did Veronica have any?
Yes.
You think so, right?
Yes.
Because I remember being in that position and we did it both ways and doing electronically was
So what
a
the,
snap.
what the dance is now is like, if I get the PO from Veronica with the sequence that she's in for the fire department, police department, it's not good. And I say I would like if we had one system like the town system, so you put the PO requisition in, you hit it, you guys, it would save us money.
The nice thing is that once you've established that PO in the system, everything you do against that it just happens right there in the system. You can't make an invoice without referencing that versus or. I don't know, that's
So
just
if you
my
don't-
point from my feeling.
Sounds like a benefit that's worth the cost.
To me,
Yeah. So this isn't like spending a lot of money on something that's going to not deliver.
Veronica, have anything?
She did not.
And is this something that if we implemented and for whatever reason, Veronica was like, this stinks, I don't like it, it's not working for me, we could change, or is it like we're locked in for a year or 3 years or
Well, it would be for a year.
for 1 year? Which would probably take to get
Yes,
like used to it anyway, but we wouldn't be locked in forever, we could always.
no, you can swap and change modules at any time.
Have you had a conversation with Veronica?
I have not yet. She knows that I was checking on this Friday.
Yeah, but
But I didn't have an in-depth conversation on how she felt about it, whether or not she has never used it, so it's kind of hard.
so then
But I would think anything other than the manual system we have now might be an improvement.
yeah, that offsets the ongoing, you know, labor
I
intensive
think Eric's
process.
point, I think Eric made a good point in the way the paperwork flow is.
Yeah.
I don't wanna speak for her, but I'm not, the fact that she's frustrated with it too. Any improvement would be better.
Eric, this is time sensitive. How many of those frozen, please excuse me, if we're trying to find where to put these frozen breakfast pizzas, any idea how many you have down there? Shannon's concerned with space in her freezers.
I only have about 60 of them left, it's not the case,
Yeah,
so.
we've pretty much dispersed.
Oh,
most of them.
I thought you had a slew.
No.
No, they've already gotten, when we got the initial donation, they got, what, half? I know we had to pretty much out.
Yeah.
They got what we couldn't fit in the freezers.
Yeah,
So, yes,
Oh, there's no more giveaway?
There's a little bit left in there, but I don't think enough where. So.
Sorry. I apologize. So would you like me to move forward with the $850
Yeah,
PO
I'm
module?
in agreement, yeah.
Can I have a motion?
I make a motion that the town administrator purchase the purchasing agreement.
Purchasing order module for the
Module.
MTS system,
The MTS system in the amount of $850.
$50.
Okay, second,
All in favor?
Trish, I.
Kathleen, I.
Diana, Laura,
Scott.
Thanks, Jen.
You're welcome. That's it for me tonight. Thank you.
A few other things to sign here before we go to other business. Central alarm monitoring, we have an agreement here that John would like us to give him permission to sign. This relates to AES and that alarm
The
system.
future town hall.
Future town hall, I stand corrected.
I'm excited about it, you know? Right?
We don't wanna call it AES forever.
Right.
So our future town hall, with the kids in there, they didn't have this alarm system working, they disconnected it, so John's got an agreement here with Capital Alarm Monitoring, so that we'll have 24-hour monitoring again at our future town hall. John's not sure, you're not sure on,
There will be an annual fee, much like we pay for this building, there's an annual fee along that all go back to Capital Alarm that will avert fire and heating should something go wrong.
What is that for the building here?
And don't have that price. System doesn't work without it.
so. I moved that the board approve this contract with Central Alarm Monitoring, so that our future town hall is 24-hour coverage.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Trish, I.
Kathleen, I.
Diana, Laura,
Scott. We've got
Who seconded that, I'm sorry?
Trish.
Thank you, Trish.
there's a lumber cutting form here that Evan's already approved. It's on Blackwell Road. What's the acreage? 32 acres. He's already approved it. They're just looking for signature from us. Make it official.
There will be a timber bond associated with this, as there are with any, but this is in the state park.
Yeah, I'm sorry, the access road is Blackwell Road. The cut is actually here. So on Deerfield Road, 408 is that lead us from 408 Deerfield Road. So. Any other questions?
There are no motions with intention.
I think there's.
You all sign it, yes. Thank you.
Okay. Next is a form from the Department of Revenue Administration from Evan regarding our new total property evaluation in town. It is $523,677,891, which John says $2 million.
That is without utility.
So this needs our signature as well. So I move that we approve this evaluation of our total town property, taxable property.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Commissioner,
Kathleen, aye.
Diane, aye.
Laura, aye.
Scott, aye. All right, last thing before the business, we have tax payment agreements. Just be patient as I go through these, and once again, need the map and the lot number. All right, the first is for tax map 105, lot number 087. Those enough numbers?
You can actually read the name, that's a formal document and agreement between the town and the resident.
Okay. All right.
I would recommend you say the name, the address, the total amount, the tax payment plan involves, and then the monthly payment.
Okay. This is an agreement with Tiffany Brown, 47 River Road. She's in arrears. She will pay $20,062.32, the rate of $400 on or before the 30th of each month. Do you want me to go through all of them, or do you want to do them individually?
Can he just read them all?
You will need a motion on each. If everybody's going to approve all the payment plans, you've already signed a waiver because the folks have them. So if you want to read them off en masse and do one vote to approve, then sign each individual one.
That okay with everybody on the board?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Next is an agreement with Paul Cormier. This property is located at 36 Old Drive. The owner will pay the amount of $5,996.08 at $300 a month on before the 30th of each month. Next is with Yvonne Gordon. She's the owner of property at 11 Brookside Terrace. She'll pay the amount of $3,976.21 at the rate of $125 a month on or before the 5th of each month. This agreement is with Susan St. Hilaire. Owns the property at 43 Catamount Drive. And she will pay the amount of $5,961.69 at the rate of $157 per month on or before the 30th of each month. Next is Jane Lalleberry. She owns the property at 31 Riverside Drive. She will pay $8,276.77 at the rate of $100 per month on or before the 10th of each month. Jane Lalleberry is the owner of the property located at 38 Riverside Drive. Owner shall pay the amount of $19,572.22. at the rate of $250 a month on or before the 10th of each month. Dalton Mello. He owns property at 18 Fulham Circle. And he will pay $9,194.61. He will make an initial payment of $100 on the date of the signing, and then pay at the rate of $200 per month on or before the 25th of each month. Timothy McNulty, 6 Catamount Hill Drive. Pay $6,348.51. That will be paid in $100 increments on or before the 30th of each month. This is Mark McQueen. He owns property at 3 Lafayette Street. Owner shall pay the amount of $41,078.97 at the rate of $700 per month on or before the 30th of each month. Lisa Merchant and Matthew Merchant own property located at 17 Raven Circle. He will pay the amount of $8,081.15 at the rate of $120 per month on or before the 5th of each month. And Nancy Rowe. She owns a property at 9 Emile Drive. He'll pay the amount of $3,314.89 at the rate of $200 per month on or before the 30th of each month. All agreements to be paid until such time as all amounts due to the town are paid in full.
Oh,
All in favor?
Laura,
Scott, aye. Sorry.
You have to sign them too, you had a whole file here, I feel bad for you.
Just sign them where it's available when it gets to me.
I just put the one line for staff before. Just because it's the chair, yes.
While we're signing, any other business before the board?
Just I forgot this when I was on there, a quick update from the board. John saw the email, the roofing company's training. The engineers confirmed the fact that it was their fault. The company that originally put the roof on is scheduled within the next 2 weeks to rip off all the plywood, reinforce it, and shingle all the spots that need to be done. So hopefully by winter, said he was very, very, very good.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to know that that got resolved, that we didn't go ahead with the original.
Yeah, a little bit of time, and that's why we did the investigating and found it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think it probably does.
Okay.
Like I said, signatures on.
We're just creatures of habit, we
Yeah.
just stay in the same order.
Yeah. We done with other business?
Do we move on to the consent calendar? Scott, are you still signing?
Yeah, we still have, we're still signing, but you're signing.
If you want to
Yeah, are you gonna?
That, I have to notarize all.
Okay, that's good. All right, I make a motion to ratify the consent calendar of September 8th, 2025.
Cover sheets.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
What is it under your-
Kathleen, aye.
Diane, aye. Laura, aye.
And Scott, aye.
This one's almost signed. Some of those come out of order. Come keep track of which maps they belong to. But I think that, Jackie should be able to.
Yeah.
Carry one? Oh.
Try has gotten them all back. Somebody's looking at that too.
I'll try and have a few.
These may be part of. Yeah, these may be part of.
They're part of one of those two piles, I look all around, I thought I had gotten them all back and. Switch. So if we have a vote, a roll call on the.
No, you did not. Was there a second?
Trish, aye.
Kathleen, aye.
Diane, aye. Laura, aye.
Scott, aye.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of the public meeting minutes of August 11th, 2025. Yeah, I'm gonna just say that one.
Is that the one that you requested further?
Yeah, because, you know, when I went back to the August 25th meeting, I did make a motion, Diane made a motion that the minutes for August 11th would reflect that entire conversation from, you know, it already includes my statement, but, and, you know, the fact that I made a motion, but the motion was on August 25th. That we return the minutes to the transcriptionist and she go back so we can capture everything, so it'd be fair in every way. John asked if we were all in agreement that the following be added to the August 11th meeting. From the time Trish made the motion to the end of the conversation, the board agreed to that. So the August 11th minutes still do not reflect what the board agreed to have in those minutes.
So you want to wait on the August 11th and do the August 25th?
Sure.
Trish, so you're saying the 8-11 minutes are still not accurate?
Yes.
Is what I instructed the transcriptions to do with is what the board agreed, from one time stamp to the next.
I know initially you did ask that, but then later in that conversation, you said, John asked if we were all in agreement that the following be added to the 8-11 minutes. From the time Trish made the motion to the end of the conversation regarding that topic, not that timestamp. We started talking about that, there was further discussion. And I did put in my email to you and I responded to you, Diane, the time frame of the minutes from the last meeting, from the August 25th meeting. You can go back and listen to that and see that that's what we agreed to, that entire conversation is gonna be included in it.
I mean, what's the point? It sounds like we're going down a rabbit
But we
hole.
already made a motion and agreement to that. Well, rescind your motion, I'm not gonna support that, but.
I mean, I read through them and. I mean, what would be missing?
Well, the tone, the way the minutes read right now, it inflects that I was rescinding my motion because comments that Eric made, but I rescinded the motion based on comments you made, which were different from the comments that Eric was making.
Or other minutes too, like, I mean, I remember reading them, but I think that was last week.
Yeah, I read them and I understood that that's what Trish was getting at.
Just so I am clear, if the board decides that they want to change the 8-11 minutes again, what exactly are you looking for?
Would you be okay with a summarization of that? I think in my original proposal, I had said that Diane and Scott asked some questions about other revolving funds, and that was when you rescinded your motion.
That's true, but during that conversation last week, Eric made the point that he himself would like to see that entire transcript included in the minutes.
Yeah.
And that's why we made that.
So nothing would be
motion
on
the
the
end.
Yes.
That was part of it.
We're setting a bad precedent here. I'm not sure what, I have to ask Trish, what difference does it make? We're not doing a verbatim transcription, this is a synopsis.
Right, and I agree that normally we wouldn't, but the reflection of what the conversation was is not accurate in the way that the minutes. That's where I.
And I have had many members of the public reach out that say the 3-hour meetings, to watch them is too long. A lot of times they just skim through the meeting minutes and they want an accurate representation. I have had people, some people are fine with what's in there, but I have had people complain and say, if I read those minutes, I really have no idea what happened at that meeting. So every now and then, especially if it's something that a board member really wants to be on the record clearly about, and they request a verbatim, like again, I don't think it should be done for every session of every meeting.
Well, that's what I was, sorry, we're not
Yeah.
gonna.
Yeah, we're not
Yeah,
gonna.
in this instance,
This all the time.
yeah, in this instance, it was done not just on a board member's request, on a department head's request, and the board voted to do that.
So what's still missing? I mean, I hate to see this go back to the transcriptionist again.
The conversation from the time after I made the motion is not clearly reflecting the entire conversation. So it does talk, it reflects that there was discussion between Eric
Is it
and
like
Kathleen,
another 2
but it
minutes?
doesn't reflect.
Is it like another?
Yeah, oh yeah, it's so it's from 2:38 to 2:50, 2 minutes, so it's, you know, it is that's 2 hours, so 38 to, well, actually, it's from.
Here you're saying
44.
2 hours, 38 minutes to 2 hours, 45 minutes?
Yeah.
So if I,
That's a minute period.
so if I instruct the transcriptionist to write verbatim from 2 hours, 38 to 2 hours, 45.
Well, but then, so. It wouldn't include the motion that was made. Oh, wait. No, yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Does that have to go back with the transcriptions? I mean, can I come in and fix it? You can spend an hour and fix it to save money? I mean, we gotta be paying for this, right?
If you'd like to,
You want me to come in after?
if the board would be in agreement,
Well, I mean, they're gonna see it in writing. I just hate to see this, you know, I don't know what she charges, but.
well, we'd be paying her. So 2 hours, 38 to 2 hours, 45.
All right, I'll come in Thursday and do it.
Okay,
Thank you.
It's the bed.
The 8:25 minutes, those
Yes,
are
okay.
good, you're making a motion
Yeah,
to
I made a
approve.
motion to approve the August 25th public meeting minutes.
so we are once again tabling the 8-11.
And I will second for August 25th.
All in favor?
Trish, aye.
Kathleen, I.
Diane, aye.
Laura.
Scott.
Make a motion to accept the accounts payable manifest of number 159, 160, and 161. And payroll manifest of September 4th, 25.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Kathleen, aye.
Laura.
Scott.
This is always.
Any other business before the board? Stephen, he has none on his own. Think I've got all of it so far. So. Any other motions from the board? So we can leave.
I'll make a motion to close the select board meeting of September 8th, 2025 at 7:29.
I'll second.
Are you adjourning?
Yeah.
That was just a shot.
You said close, that's why I just wanted to adjourn next month. I was paying attention.
We were already to sneak out on
Yeah, I know. What time was that?
7:29.
7:29. Motion and second
Yeah.
was.
Laura.
Laura. Thank you.
Kathleen, aye.
Jenny, I'm Laura.
Thank you.